Hello, everyone. My name's Crystal. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give a thumbs down. Um, I intended yesterday to come live, and life happened and I didn't get to. But I thought I would jump on here and go over a few things that has kind of had me, well, just some things I've been thinking about. First of all, right up front, I'm going to say that the things that I'm going to be showing or letting you listen to is not new information. There is not new information. Hello. Uh, but it is stuff that I think we do need to consider. That's one thing about YouTube is um, it seems like yesterday's news today is old news when we could be overlooking some things. And in this case, there is a lot that we could be overlooking. For one thing, let's think about the people that lived around, hello, Lisa, Summer. And if we're going to do that, let's start out with her parents. Today, nobody's off limits. But, okay, Candace and Dawn, as we all know, they were Summer's parents. They've been on several YouTube channels. They've been drinking, arguing with one another. Really, to be quite honest, making a mess out of things. Dawn's made statements that struck every nerve with us, I believe, like I'll see her in the resurrection. Her being outside was her downfall. We've also got a timeline I think most of us are a little bit confused about because of the details of it. You've got the past DV reports and the 911 calls. And one big thing is, hello, Kathy, is that it seems like nobody remembers, hello, Charlie, nobody remembers time very well on Ben Hill. There's a lot of things that I've found that I've really wanted to like put out there before. I always want to do it respectfully. And when we come to that timeline, now, one thing that hits my mind, and I'm going to play this, you can find it on WJHL, but it's titled, Where Did Summer Wells Go? June the 15th before disappearing. Yes. There is a lot of red flags, and I'll try to look at the chat some, but if I miss any questions, I am very sorry. But I think that's something that we've all wondered is, where did Summer Wells go on June the 15th? And the fact of the matter is, there's only a few people that know that information. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. I will pause it on some things that have stuck out in my mind. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. And leave your opinions in the comments. I mean, I'm open to opinions as long as they are respectful. And if anybody wants to come on panel, then I'll drop the link here in a second and you are free to do so. But let's get started with this.
Mark Reynolds, thank you very much. As this week marks 10 months since family members said Summer Wells disappeared from their home in Hawkins County, News Channel 11 continues to work to find answers. Tonight, Ansley Daniels in the Beech Creek community with the timeline of June 15th, 2021, leading up to that night.
We've walked you through what has happened since Summer Wells disappeared the night of June 15th. But for the first time, we walk you through that day with her mother and grandmother from their perspective just hours before she was reported missing.
Candace and I get up that morning. She come out and took me to into the ER because my
Okay. Like I said, I will pause this on some things that has stuck out to me. Right there, she says she took me to the ER. Now, I have heard a lot of people state that was a doctor's appointment. She clearly said ER. And with me, I know when it's not a doctor's appointment and it's an ER visit, it's a last minute emergency thing. Put a 1 in chat if you agree with me. If you can go to the doctor and not the ER, you're going to. 9 times out of 10, if you're going to the ER, it's a rushed thing. And she says that she took her to the ER. Well, in Chris Madonna's interview, one thing that stuck out to me is he asked her, where did you put Summer's swimsuit on? Was it at H's house or was it at home before she left? She said at home. And that's a red flag to me. She put a swimsuit on at home before she left to take her mom to an ER visit. Now, it was not a doctor's visit. It was an ER visit. So, did she know they were going swimming that early in the morning? And if she did, then does that mean she talked to H before she ever left? Something that I've always wondered about. Now, please keep in mind, these are my opinions. Hello, Lupus Mom. I'm no professional. I'm just a country girl that's looked at this and some things have stuck out to me. I will put that out there. And like I said, today, I mean, it's not about, one moment. It's not about blaming parents. It's not about trying to defend parents. It's not about blaming Jody Sue. It's not about trying to defend her. It's not about blaming Jackie Dobbs. It's not about blaming anybody. It's about the things that just does not add up. And I think every one of us can agree that in this case, there is things that just don't add up. Now, like I said, one of my questions, as just being a person on YouTube watching these interviews, has always been, why put the swimsuit on that morning if you're going to an emergency room visit and you really didn't plan to be out long that day? I mean, and there could have been reasons that she would have, but I mean, like one place she stated summer got hot, but then she said summer got cold. So that's just confusing to me.
leg was messing up on me.
The hospital is about 25 minutes from the Wells Beach Creek home in Kingsport.
She took me into the hospital, and
So she said she took me into the hospital. So that indicates to me that she did go in the hospital with her. And some of this may seem like I'm nitpicking, but I want to listen to it closely. So she wasn't waiting outside. She took her into the hospital, she said. So I'm assuming if she did, and at this point, it's just Grandma, Candace, and Summer. If she took her in, does the hospital have video of that? Do they have surveillance of Summer being inside that hospital?
I ended up getting a shot for it to get rid of the pain. And they prescribed me medication.
Summer, her mother, and grandmother spent the day in the closest city to their house.
Then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day at the horse stables, I believe it was.
We were waiting on my mother's prescription.
Okay, and like everybody else, when she said, I believe it was. Okay, do you know for sure or do you believe?
from the drugstore at Walgreens on Fort Henry.
The three, along with a friend that Candace describes as a minor, then came swimming here at Warriors Path State Park. It's where the last known video of Summer was taken and then posted to TikTok.
We had to wait for Mom's prescription at Walgreens, so we just went up to Warriors. There was all kinds of trash everywhere at Warriors when we showed up. And I let Summer out to play. And we just stood there for about 15, 20 minutes. And then
Okay. Now, when I went to Rogersville, I had always thought I'd heard that somewhere. 15 or 20 minutes was what they were there. And even if you go back and watch my video, I think in that video, I did not stay there long enough, because then I think maybe it was 30. But at this point, from different people, we have heard different things. H said they were going to go fishing. Well, that brings up my question. Did he leave home with a fishing boat? I mean, did they go swimming? Was they going to go fishing? And then when he is asked, well, what changed? Why didn't you go fishing? He says, we had to pick up the grandma. Well, she had prior been at the hospital with grandma at the ER. So she knew she was going to have to pick her up. That should not have changed anything, in my opinion. And please don't look at this like I am going for the family or trying to defend the family or anything like that. I'm not. I'm just trying to be very open-minded.
we all got back in the truck and we got Mom's prescription. And I took him home. And then we came home.
And so then Summer came back here with you later that afternoon, right?
Yes.
The trip from Warriors Path back to Ben Hill Road is just over 17 miles. But Bly couldn't recall how many hours that was before she reported her daughter missing. Not how many hours was that before she was reported missing.
You know, I really can't tell you all the time details because time gets away from you when you're trying to enjoy yourself.
The three then returned.
Okay. Now, within the last week, it has been wondered because of Michelle getting on another creator's panel. Was she gone 4 hours before they called 911? They don't know how long it was right there. But she says and now keep in mind, she's not saying right in that part that she didn't know how long it was from being at Warriors or from the time Summer went missing. She is saying that from Warriors Park to the time Summer went missing, she don't know how long it took. But it is a question. Like I said, in this case, time. Nobody knows no time.
Here to their home on Ben Hill Road. A neighbor says that she first heard Candace calling for Summer around 6 o'clock that night. Police say that she was reported missing around half an hour later, around 6:30. In the Beach Creek community, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Okay, so that is the timeline as of April the 13th of 2022 that we have. And like I said, there is things with the parents that to me is frankly a red flag. But the thing about it is, it don't end there. If Summer's parents was the only shady people in this case, then we would already have it figured out. And yes, I know, like I said earlier, this ain't no new news. But I think Summer deserves for us to look at everything closely. And that includes everybody that was around her that we know of. This is a very good point. The point I was making. I mean, if she took her mom to the emergency room, she knew she was going to have to pick her up. So why would it change? She knew. Exactly. Okay, so who else have we got in this case that was around summer? That some things just don't add up. You've got the neighbors, Jody Sue and Andy. Now, they lived across the road on the opposite hill from the Wells. Jody Sue came out saying her and Candace, and I'm just talking about inconsistencies here. She came out saying that her and Candace never hang out together. It wasn't like they were big buddies or friends. Now, somehow, she knows all the things. All the things that went on that other hill, Jody Sue knows it. She knows that Don took showers with Summer. Never reported it, but she knows it. Candace took pictures to document Jody Sue's DV claims. She fed the Wells kids. Now, I'm just naming some things here. We've also heard that her son was allegedly saw on the property after Summer went missing, sneaking around by, I think it's more than 5 people. Fred says he saw her son, her grown son, go swimming, or saw him in the swimming pool with Summer on the property. Now, not the day that Summer went missing, but he had saw that before. So when she come out, she said they weren't friends. And now it seems like they are. Yeah, she did. In the beginning, she said she didn't know those people over on the other hill. She sure did. And since then, it seems like she knowed them pretty good. Then you've got Don Scherfy. What did he say about what happened? Okay, listen real close to this. Because when I started thinking about the neighborhood, naturally, the one thing I was thinking was, well, you know, probably like our neighborhood, everybody knows everybody. If somebody goes by the house, I know whose car it is. I mean, it's not a guessing game where I live. We all know each other, but we get along. There's not feuds really goes on where I live. But listen what Don Scherfy says to JLR and Molly Golightly and Bullhorn Betty.
Yeah, so to leave. I wouldn't allow it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's why I'm armed. Yeah, I don't know who's down here. Yeah. If he comes in and starts shooting, I will shoot back. There's a lot of people leave right up here and start shooting, I'll start shooting back. Yeah.
Now, when he said that, he pointed at Andy's property.
So these two don't get along.
Okay, and just right there, he pointed at Jody Sue's property, and he pointed at the Wells, and he said they don't get along.
Or they don't. Yeah.
Surprised he hasn't blamed them yet.
Well, he has.
Oh, he has.
He's blamed everybody.
Is that Andy up there? Andy, or is that, yeah.
Oh, she's gone. He run her off.
And now he's getting ready to start telling about how they feel about Jody Sue.
Yeah, so, I mean, these guys here, have you ever, like,
The lady that used to live up here, all she do is harass everybody. She come to the property up here, harassed us. I ended up drawing my gun on her.
yeah.
So to leave.
My question right there, what was she harassing them about? Did it have anything to do with land? I mean, and because he said he drawed his gun on her, but it don't seem like anybody has asked him why. Why did you draw a gun on her for?
But now, he has blamed Fred.
Yes.
And Fred done put the word up to him. You say my name again, and he'll kill him. Rich?
Did you all hear that? Fred said, if you put my name out again, that he would kill him. Not that he would stomp a mud hole in him and wade through it. No, didn't say that. He said he would kill him. Now, you would think that would just be a temper talking. But what do we know about Fred? He shot a man in the throat. So I'd say he was actually meaning exactly what he said.
Some man right here just said,
See, he shot a man right here in this road. Now, think where you live. Do you just so easily threaten to kill your neighbor? I mean, there's a missing kid. And I know when that happened, it wasn't when she went missing. It was before. But however, there is a missing kid, and he has come down here on the road afterwards and told the world that Fred said. Now, keep in mind, Fred's threatening Don at first. If he puts his name out there again, he's going to kill him. Now you got Donald Shurfy down here, who is doing what? He's putting his name out there. So, and again, he did not say, I'll stump a mud hole in your hind end and wade through it. No, he didn't say nothing like that. He said he would kill him. Then you got Jackie Dobbs. Now, Jackie bought a piece of property that is in between Jody Sue's and the Wells property. Evidently, it's supposed to be useless. Useless piece of property. If you go back and you watch the early videos before Summer went missing, Jody Sue goes into grave detail on how useless this property is. But then she mentions that they offered to buy it. 2 days before Summer goes missing, they actually called the law on Jackie Dobbs. And just a second, I think I got that somewhere. But anyways, they called the law on him. In that video, Jody Sue makes the comment that there was just something really off about him. He's low on her list of suspects. However, she's really hyping him up that he's strange. He was just going to squat there, is what she said. Yes, and that's another thing about Don Shurfy. Now, Don Shurfy also has a son that's shady as he can be, downloading photos of children that is not appropriate whatsoever. So, even though he comes and he presents himself as what? Ex-law enforcement. Okay, red flag right there. He's got a son that have all these charges, and you're ex-law enforcement. It don't look good. But anyways, Jackie Dobbs bought this land. Jody Sue didn't like it. Jody Sue made all kinds of videos about how much she didn't like it. And she is the first one that puts out that Jackie Dobbs kind of makes him look suspicious to me. But then he does some stuff that is red flags too. He puts out a photo of his dog on what he calls Ben, Hell. It's a place, I'll say it, Ben Hell. And that's what he titles it. And then he changes the date on it to try, and it even puts the word timestamp in the title of the photo, trying to change when he was there. Why would you do that if you have nothing to hide? Now, unfortunately, he's not even the shadiest person in this. He's not. Because I think it was 14 or 11 days before Summer goes missing, we have a YouTube creator that used to be on YouTube. And he makes a YouTube page. Then Summer goes missing. And a bunch of his first videos showed him in his vehicle, driving to the meadows where Don used to work, driving around the area, saying he's looking for Summer. Then we see him on WJHL about the billboards. During the marathon, he's on there, and him and Jody Sue's kind of having a squabble, right backwards and forwards. I've had surgery on my mouth, so if I mispronounce words, that's why. But anyways, then it comes out that he did what? He frauded everybody. But there was something that was released while he was still on here. And I know many of you have heard this already. But it's always run chills over me that he even said this. But I'll let you all listen to it. See what you think. Just a second. Let me get it pulled up here. And he has this very same creator. Most of you know who I'm talking about. It was 423 Chase. He's really scammed a lot of people out of a lot of money. And it's always weighed on my mind. Because one of the first things that happened in the Carly Trent investigation is they put out a reward. Well, he is in the area. He made his YouTube right before Summer goes missing. He's named himself 423 Chase. Is Chase anywhere in his name? Nope. He's named it after her favorite Paw Patrol. Then he gets intertwined with this marathon thing. And then he's supposed to be the voice of truth, saying what is and what isn't real. Then he gets mixed up with the billboard thing. And then we find out that he totally frauded everybody. But in the middle of this phone call come out. Now, I know a lot of you have already heard this, but listen to it. Listen how he describes what happens. And then I'm going to play a clip and let you listen to what somebody else said.
Kim knew that Don was taking showers with Summer and molesting her, and there was a man at the bottom of the hill and a woman.
There's a man, there's another man and woman involved in this. The man is the getaway driver, okay? The man is the one that was driving the truck set at the bottom of the hill. There was a woman, came up that hill on the backside and lured Summer out of there. Went in the house. Grandma distracted Candace long enough for this to happen. If you don't believe me, you wait another 2-3 weeks. Wait another 2-3 weeks. Tell me if what I'm telling you ain't true. But you cannot. All this bullshit about drugs this, drugs that, sold it for this, sold it for that, was letting her out in the shed. That's bullshit. All that's just a bunch of bullshit. What happened is Grandma saved that little girl's life.
Now, that ain't even the weirdest part. Right here, listen to this.
Where is she?
I don't know, but there are people that do know.
Like
She's
law
okay.
enforcement?
Private investigators know, and the FBI knows.
First of all, if they really knew, she'd be home by now.
But there's one missing piece, and that's the girl that lured her, the woman that lured her away, and that's
The woman that lured her away. He don't say the person. He says the woman.
what they're waiting on.
How do they know that Summer's safe?
They got eyes all over her, honey. But they cannot finish what they started until they find out exactly who Grandma had to lure her away. Because Grandma's not talking, she's a freaking... Grandma ain't been out here on a freaking joyride vacation. Grandma's been in the box.
Is she back in Tennessee?
Yeah, she's back. She came back for about 3 days and gone again. Because she's going back to make sure Summer's okay and taken care of.
This is very specific, people. He is stating these not as his opinion. He is stating this as a fact.
Grandma's going to be a hero. But Sal, now, see, here's the thing. Tiffany, we need people to stop showing Candace hate. We need people to say, you know, Candace, we know Don's got his foot on your throat. Just talk. Just talk. It is. But Grandma saved Summer. She's going to take heat for a while.
Okay, but when is Summer going to be put in the hands of law enforcement? Like, when is she going to be turned over?
Let Grandma get back to where she's going. It ain't going
And then he don't stop there.
to be long, honey. It won't be much longer. Just and don't believe me. Think I mean, that's fine.
No, I don't think that about you, Chase. I wouldn't even talk to you if I thought that.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
okay. So, where did fucking Candace take off to now? Candy, her back to fucking West Memphis?
She's going. No. Indiana.
Indiana. Okay, now when he tried to defend this recording, and I do apologize for the cuss word that was put out there. I didn't even realize that was in it. But when he tried to defend this recording, he said he was giving her his opinion. Really? He gave her a place, you all. Not Wisconsin, that most everybody was knew about Grandma going to, or Grandma Hare going to on YouTube. We knew she went there to visit. No, he says a completely different state. He says Indiana. Now, keep in mind that during this, he also said there's just one piece they got to figure out. Who lured her away? Who was down there that lured Summer away? Now, when I listened to this, and I just heard it not too long ago when Squall put her videos back out, she did an interview, one of the first ones. Listen to this. Tell me what you think.
Shaped it. That particular way that's shaped is like you could literally hide behind the weed center and the way to make the shape and watch that basement door and just wait, like, and it wouldn't even be a thing. Like, it's not as inaccessible as it looks. The pictures and the way it you know, the perspective from video and even the still frames, especially in the news, make it seem absolutely impossible to access, but it's not. Theirs is definitely more accessible than ours by a long shot, but it honestly, it kind of is. The way it's set up, especially with foliage popping up in those days before it was, you could have sat there.
Let's listen to that one more time.
That particular way that's shaped is like you could literally.
Now, at this point, she's talking about the way the driveway and stuff is made at the Wells property and how the property lines was and the foliage. But listen what she says about up there, the way it curves.
Behind the weed center and the way to make the shape, watch that basement door and just wait, like, and it wouldn't even be a thing. Like, it's not.
You could be there behind those weeds and just wait and watch that basement door, and it wouldn't even be a thing.
As inaccessible as it looks, the pictures and the way it.
She says people think it isn't as accessible as it looks, and the way the pictures make it look.
You know, the perspective from video and even steal friends, especially in the news, make it seem absolutely impossible to access, but it's not. Theirs is definitely more accessible than ours.
She's telling you how easy it is to access the Wells property behind bushes and people not know it. That's exactly what she's saying, and that is Jody Sue. That is an interview, and Squall has every bit of it on her channel, but an interview that she did with Squall. But after hearing him saying that somebody was down there and lured her away, he even says she's now in Indiana. He didn't give any of this like it was a chance or, could have happened, speculation. No. Nope. He said it like a fact. And then you've got her given exactly where someone could hide. Now, I've always looked at her like a witness. And that wasn't really... After I heard that, after remembering his phone call, that phone call was embedded in my head after I heard it, because it never sounded like speculation. It never sounded like his opinions. That it sounded like a fact. He stated it as a fact. And then you have her saying how it could be done. And keep in mind, she said it back in, I think that interview was August with Squall. And I know I'll probably be criticized for even saying that. But I'm telling you, if we're talking about the things that just don't add up, that one really doesn't add up. I'm going to take and put the link if you all want to come up and talk about it. I would love to hear what you have to say. I'm not somebody that's going to... I don't argue. I believe in keeping an open mind. There has been some things that's been said, even, that I didn't put in this video because I didn't see the point in it. It didn't really add up. But, and to be honest with you, I've cut this pretty short to what because like I said, I thought this for a while, but I didn't know how to do it respectfully, and maybe I didn't. And if I didn't, I'm sorry. But on YouTube, if it happened a week ago, it's old news. You're criticized if you look at it. And that's what people say. Oh, we knew about that on week 2. Well, yeah, but did you listen to it? Did you pay attention? It is very sad when it's almost a year and we still have a missing child out there. And in the midst of it, we've got people arguing over it. We've got people talking about each other like dogs. When we should just be, you're allowed to have your opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion. We shouldn't have to be arguing over it. No, I won't boot you. No, as long as you're respectful, I won't boot you at all. And like I said, and just because I don't cuss does not mean that I'm going to criticize anybody else that does. I'm real easy to talk to, people. I mean, I like to brainstorm with people. And like I said, when I started this video, at the main beginning of it, I'm not wanting to put, I'm not defending the parents, and I'm not accusing them. All I'm wanting to talk about is the messed up things, or what I was trying to put out. The messed up things that's going on in this case. The things that these people have said themselves. Yo, Lupus, come on up. And I'm sure I'll get kickback from it. I'm sure I will. But when you have a man that made a phone call, put a one in the chat if you've heard about this phone call lately. It says your device is not connected, Lupus. Okay. Welcome. Are you muted, Lupus? Am I the only one that can hear?
You there?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, can you hear me?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I always get kicked. And when Charlie said Lupus needs to come up, I'm like, no, because I go deep and then I get kicked.
No, I believe everybody is allowed to have their own opinions.
All right, I'm going to tell you my opinion. This is my opinion. Allegedly, this could have been the way it worked. Okay, so I'm going to just ramble off. All right, it was planned to sell Summer. Then when it was supposed to have, maybe she was given too much medicine, because if you research, and that's why when I'm in chats I always say do your research. But when a child is going to be trafficked, or the parents know that their child is sick from whatever, now remember, CPS was coming, and we know why they wouldn't want CPS to get a hold to Summer. So they had to get rid of her. Now, the way that I look at it is Jody Sue's son got caught up on that land because Jody Sue or Andy was trying to get him to spy. The reason why H got caught up in it is because he was kind of like a guinea pig. He's there, well, we can put it off on him. So what I think happened is it went wrong, and Summer passed, and with Andy and Jody Sue help, or just Andy, help to get disposed to hide Summer's body. And that's why I think that Summer was moved a many a times. And then if you look at what the lamplight, their religion, and then you look at the church and their religion, and then you put in Masons and how they feel, they sacrificed her body and they sold her organs. And I do believe that if they fiddle around the land, or where a lot of people want to go and search and that's why RL will not allow it, they would find Summer. Now, a lot of people would think, well, what does RL have to do with it? Well, how does he know Andy and them? How does he know Andy and them's family? How is Jody Sue out owing so much money? Then we have to go back to the Carly Trent case. Then, if you go back a little bit on it, oh, well, everybody was able to be involved in that and search for her. Well, Ronnie Lawson said nobody can search unless they go through him. Then you have, well, EquiSearch has come in and gave their good deed, and because they wouldn't tell you everything, so now they can't be involved. Now remember, they don't have no money. Tennessee ain't got no money in Hawkins County to be able to bring in searchers or whatever. Now, mind you, they were coming in to do this for free. And EquiSearch said that they would come back in and do it. And they're not being allowed to do it at this point. Well, if you put all of this together, it's more than just, in my opinion, Dawn, Candace, and Grandis have knowledge of everything. Hunter and Jody Sue's son was just thrown in there. Jody Sue and Andy, they know.
Okay, you're breaking up on us.
Hello.
Okay, now you're back.
Okay, sorry. I drop and then come back up. But anyways, I think there was a debt owed to Andy and Jody Sue. Whoever's dealing and selling the drugs, I believe there was a debt owed to them. So they thought by her being sacrificed and the organs, then they would get their money back. But see, what they failed to understand is with Summer's case, it went worldwide. They did not expect this. So that's why when you see me in chat saying this went way bigger than they expected, now everybody's just trying to be hush hush and not say nothing. Well, yeah, there is a lot of sex offenders and there's a lot of drug dealers and all that. Well, you notice Andy and Jody Sue got kicked out of there because don't nobody want them in there now because they're scared that they're going to tell their secrets. I don't think the other people are involved, to be honest with you. I think that they've done kicked them out. That's why I said Jody Sue kept saying everybody that comes down to Ben Hill and starts questioning neighbors and all that, you're going to get shot. You've watched on so many lives these people go down through there, and the whole Ben Hill's basically been talked to, and everybody has been nice. Every single one of them. They just don't want what they're doing to be out. And they're scared that because of Jody Sue being in the light like that their secrets are going to come out. And that's just what I think. So
What
what
do
do
you
y'all
think
think?
about what do you think about the phone call with that was released like months ago with 423?
That's all money. Let's I'm glad you brought that up. Let's go. How does Tim Mullins know Chase? If you do your research, you'll find out. Then all of a sudden, Tim Mullins become the PR. what does that all involve? That's all money. So, who is the one that rescued Jody Sue out of the holler? That was Chase.
Exactly.
That was Chase that rescued. So now that all this money's been brought in, which the way that I look at it, Summer's reward fund's at 72,000, so the money's there. Now I think other people are pissed because they thought the money was going to be able to go otherwise than where it went.
Do we know what's happened with the money now? Did they renew it for like 6 more months? Or does anybody know what's happened to that? Was it donated to
No, the
EquiSearch?
money is there until June 15th. They remember it was 6 months. Then they did another till the 1 year anniversary. So once the 1 year anniversary's done, then it expires. But nobody can get information off of where that money's going to go to. Well, if anybody calls, which is pertaining to people who raise the money, then they're all about the money. So everybody is sketchy. And I'm going to tell you, I do not care for Benny Keys, but Benny Keys said on his live that Tim Mullins was paying him to keep his mouth, to shut up other creators, to shut their mouths and to keep their mouth shut. Benny Keys said that out of his own mouth. When Benny Keys seen that Tim Mullins was not telling him every bit of information that he knew, that's when Benny Keys got mad. That's when he basically that's when Benny Keys turned on everybody. That's when Candace was no longer any good. That's when Tim Mullins was no longer any good. That's when he wanted to bring everything out with Chase. And I mean, that's just how I feel about it. But there's so many people involved because it goes to somebody owing somebody money. Hello?
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
And it all boils down to owing somebody money, and then that property going to be put up for sale. And because that property wasn't going to be sold for what they wanted, and then that's how I feel the Andrew and the Josie situation come in, because I feel like that's what they had come in to buy or rent. But then Candace didn't want to leave and come back, and then it was an argument, and then Don went to jail, and then all that. I mean, it's a big ring, and I've watched this from the beginning. It is a hot mess. It has a lot of people who is involved, and as we go, we're going to see a lot of people throw a lot of people under the bus. But I will say, just like I said from day one, the first person to squeal will be the first person to be saved. I think they're just waiting on the other person to say, this is what happened. Hello.
It sure does
Sorry.
seem like this case has more shady people in it. If there's one thing, and I said this from the beginning, if there's one thing that this case has in abundance, it's liars.
Yeah, I mean, let me go down the line. Let's go down the line. Let's start with the parents, because the investigation always starts in the middle of the circle and then goes out. So we have Don, Candace, and Grandis. Then we don't know what the boys have said. So then you go outside of that. So then we had Hunter come into it, which would bring whoever he told into it. Then we have Jody Sue's son creeping, which why would they send them up? So there is Andy and Jody Sue. Then you got Tim Mullins coming in, which is being the PR guy. Then you have all these other people. BK. We have Chase. And the people I'm naming now are the money. We have BK. We have Chase. We have the church. Because you got to think with the church or with the lamplight, because it's the cult area, and if they're involved, they're getting something out of it, whether it be pills, whether it be crack cocaine, whether it be marijuana. I mean, you've got to bring these people. Then you got the people that they sold to, and it traveling out. Then you got, and it becomes a big web. So when Jody Sue says this become what, a storm? Isn't that what she said?
Actually, she said a perfect storm.
A perfect storm? There you go. But it ain't going to be perfect because YouTube is not going to stop. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop until Summer is home and justice are for them boys and Summer, period. So I'll go down. So that was me. I could talk forever. So let somebody else
thank you.
Lean on me. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, thank you for coming on panel. Like I said, everybody, I mean, I'm open to everybody's opinions. I'm not one that will sit up here and argue with anybody over an opinion because you're allowed to have one. So if anybody wants to come up, they're more than welcome.
Crystal, I was going to tell you, if people will do their research, look who Tim Mullins knows. Look who, if you'll go down and look who he knows, who Candace knows, who Don knows, and related to. You go to Jody Sue and them side, who they know, who they're related to. And then this is all going to bring you back around to certain people. Then you're going to come to a dead end. Then you're going to get another person and you're going to go, okay, I'm going to start with that person. I went through the line of all these people and they all come back to the same thing. It all comes back to a cult and drugs and money and sex. Every single bit of it all comes back to that.
Well, I want to thank Lupus for coming on panel. If anybody else wants to come up, you're more than welcome to. I think personally that it would be an injustice if we didn't look at everybody in this case. There's so much and so many people that are involved in this case. Just to narrow it down to one or two, I mean, oh, I'm sorry. She, Lupus said it booted her. For the record, I didn't. But like I said, anybody is welcome to come up. I'm not one of those chats that I'm going to silence your opinion. I'm just not going to do that. One thing that I had thought about listening to a little bit, I think it was Charlie. I think it was her internet. Yes. Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, especially looking at it from the trafficking point of view of it. Um, Somebody had said in chat, you know, a lot of times they drug the kids when they do that. Now, I will say I don't, until this case, I mean, I had really not even, other than okay, let me try to make sense here, get myself together. My husband is an over-the-road truck driver. And, you know, when you go into these truck stops, a lot of times they'll have the sign about trafficking on the bathroom stalls and stuff like that. But other than that, I'd really not really thought about trafficking because of the area that I live in. I think a lot of times we can have tunnel vision simply because of what we're used to. And I live out in the country. Like I said, everybody knows everybody. If a neighbor goes down the road, I know who, I mean, if a car goes down the road, I know which neighbor it is. And you kind of know about what time your neighbors are going to be going by because you've known each other forever, right? So you know exactly like how their schedules are, and that's the area that I live in. I mean, so I've not really been exposed much to the whole trafficking scene of it. So, I mean, could it have happened? Definitely. I mean, I can't say it didn't. And also can't say it did, but I mean, it's very likely. It says your device is not connected, Lucas. Very much so. Very much so. But one thing that has really stood out to me is the changes in
Krista,
her story. Yes,
have you looked up the FBI watch list?
it's been a while, but I have.
You know Don Wells is on that.
I'd say there's a lot on that now. But I mean, like I said, it wasn't even with this case the last time I looked at it. I helped do research
I pulled it a week and a half ago, and it's on there. And then I seen another channel also had pulled it, and she also got it too. That
I'll
means
have
that
to.
they're watching for the border. They're watching for everything, just in case he was to get out for a flee, for him fleeing. His name's on the watch list.
Let me see here. Yeah, I haven't looked at it in a very, very long time. Like I said, the last time that
Let
I
me
looked
tell
at
you.
it, I was actually doing research with the Don Lewis case from Tiger King.
Let me
But
tell you where to look. Hold on, let me go through my paperwork because I printed it out. Um, Hold on, girl. I got so many notes. I'll tell you where to look. And if people would do their research for the Michelle Bean, the lady that worked for Ronnie Lawson. Yeah, I don't trust Ronnie Lawson as much as you think. Don't trust him as much, but you can pull her up in papers and everything. Um, I'll tell you where to look. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, wrong one.
Is it listed for all states or just Tennessee?
Look up government watch list notice. It says our records indicate that the name Donald Wells is a government watch list source by the federal government or another government agency. And I'll give you, hold on. I'm going to help y'all out with some research to help y'all out just a little bit. Let's see. Am I there still?
Yes,
Hello?
you're
Oh,
still
okay.
here. I'm looking
Yeah,
through
okay.
it.
You go ahead and look, and I'll just talk. Y'all just listen to me talk. But if you look up Michelle Bean, and I'm going through my notes again. You will see the news article. Hold on. Hold on 1 second.
I'm going to mute out just a second and I'll be right back. I'm letting it download.
August 1st,
Listen.
1989, as a dispatcher and jailer for Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. And over the next 27 years, she served in various positions, including court officer and transport officer. And she is the one that Sheriff Lawson, because he knew she interacted, engaged on YouTube and followed YouTube, he sent a message stating, ask the YouTubers why it took Candace 4 hours to report
Hold
someone
on.
missing.
I'm going to start it over. Y'all
Now,
listen.
I appreciate you being here and welcome you in. Smash that subscribe button if you're new to the community and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Today I want to address the message that Sheriff Ronnie Lawson from Hawkins County sent to YouTube via Michelle Bean. Michelle Bean in the picture was and is the messenger. I know that a lot of people were upset with this message because they did not know where it came from. They did not hear it directly from Sheriff Lawson. So I want to clarify something with you. This is Michelle Bean. She does know Sheriff Ronnie Lawson. She has known him for close to 3 decades and worked with him at the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office for 27 years. Here in the photo, you will see she is receiving a plaque from Sheriff Ronnie Lawson for her 20 years of service. Michelle Bean began her employment August 1st, 1989 as a dispatcher and jailer for Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. And over the next 27 years, she served in various positions, including court officer and transport officer. And she is the one that Sheriff Lawson, because he knew she interacted, engaged on YouTube and followed YouTube, he sent a message stating, ask YouTubers why it took Candace 4 hours to report Summer missing. Now, in my opinion, and I would love to hear from you, but let's dialogue in a mature manner, sharing our opinions. In my opinion, this is accurate because I will attach the video at the end of Leslie Earhart from the TBI that I posted this morning stating Summer went missing in the early afternoon. Early afternoon is constituted by Britannica as 1 to 3 p.m. And if we go with Ronnie Lawson's words, 4 hours it took Candace. She called around 6:30. Take 4 hours back, that's 2:30, and that falls in early afternoon, my friends. I want to know what you think and hear from that message. In your opinion, I'm telling you what my opinion is. Let's go ahead and get a nice, healthy dialogue going. I wanted you to meet the messenger so you could see who had delivered that message for the sheriff. Talk soon, my friends.
Okay. Now, this, just a second. Okay. For some reason, it's took me to one of those sites that like people search. Intellus is where it's took me. Let me see here. But I will look further into that. I mean, there is a lot of areas. There is a lot of areas that we need to look into. I was wanting to go over. Let me see here. I think Lupus is losing signal again. The swing. That's something I've always wondered about. Out of everything on the hill, they mention the swing a lot. Could something have happened on the swing? Now, I will say that one of my top theories has been exactly what the news has said, kind of, that she could have wandered off. I think it's very possible that she could have. But now, I think it would be real likely that she could have wandered off. I will put that out there. And if you look in the area, then, okay. But if you look in that area, there is a lot of RSOs. And for a kid to wander off in that area, it isn't going to be good. I'm going to go over a little bit of this interview. I'm trying to find the spot because it's a long one.
Don't you hate when you're telling facts and you go into robot mode?
I call it guitaring,
I hate
Hell is
it.
the
I
sound,
hate it.
people, because I'm in the boondocks myself, so it could be some of my Wi-Fi that's actually doing it too. Okay. Now, like I said, let me see here. This is one of the first, well, this is one of the first interviews that I saw of Jody Sue. And like I said, I'm trying to get it.
The FBI.
Well, I put it in the website you told me, and it took me to Intellus. So I've got an actual website that I use. So I will look further into on that when I'm able to put it together. But I do appreciate the information.
Yeah, and then look in your local newspapers back 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe 6. I'll have to go through my notes. I have so many notes, and you will find Melissa in your thing. But I thought it was funny because a lady named Valkyrie had spoke on a channel of where she had talked to Lawson way back in the early months of sending in some credible information talking about how she had talked to Ronnie Lawson herself, and he said that JSB was full of it. But anyways, you would have, I hate to say anything that they say on their channels because I want them to have the credit. But if you'll go back and you'll look on where she had spoke on that, it was crazy. And then that with Michelle Bean talking to and nobody believing, I think Ronnie Lawson might be trying to get some heads up before things hit. So, but that's all I have to say. Everybody keep in mind it's all about Summer and the boys. And we won't give up on YouTube if Ronnie Lawson's listening until she's brought home. Love, peace, and everything, guys.
Thank you, Lupus. Charlie, actually, now that I'm older, I'm a bit tender-footed. But when I was young, I went around all the time with no shoes on. Actually, I can remember having foot races with no shoes on. But now as an adult, like I said, I've got a little tender-footed. I've got used to my shoes now. Now, I will say one thing about Ronnie Lawson that really bothers me is he gives me the impression that he's just checked out. I could be wrong, but it feels like he's for months just said everything everybody said is not founded. I will say with the Michelle interview, and I'm saying that's speculation, that she was gone for hours before they called law enforcement. If that is true, then we have to consider that did cancel out that scream that Jody Sue says that she heard. But what all else does that cancel out? There's been footprints that was found on neighboring properties. So, we've got to really look at everything, Miss Sarah. Please forgive me. Give me just a moment. I'm scrolling actually right now through the transcript, so I'll know where to. Because this is over a 2-hour video, almost a 3-hour video, and I wouldn't want you all to have to sit here and listen to every bit of it. If I can't find exactly where it's at, I'll paraphrase it. But, okay. Let me see here. Another thing that she said, because I don't want dead air, but another thing that she said was that she got in the creek to keep the scent down. But she says she heard this scream earlier. And then she goes on to say that she thinks she heard the scream at 4:42 because of a message that was put out. But then when she goes to the end of the driveway, she hears Candace screaming or screaming Summer's name. And after the third time, she gets into the creek because then she puts it together with a scream from earlier. Now, my question is this. If you had heard a scream while you're hyper vigilant and it bothered you, and put a 1 in the chat if gone missing is the first thing that comes to your mind. Put a 2 in the chat if somebody being hurt is the first thing that would come to your mind. Me. Now, like I said, in my neighborhood, we all know each other. If I heard my neighbor screaming their kid's name, then I would have went to that house. That's what I would have done. I would have assumed that one of the kids was hurt, not taken. I would have assumed they were hurt. So I would have been at that house wanting to know how I could help or assist. I would not have immediately jumped into the water because I had sandals on to keep the scent down and all that stuff. No, I wouldn't have thought that far ahead. I would have thought hurt. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm naive. But if I hear my neighbor screaming, I'm going to think somebody's hurt, okay? That's what I'm going to think. And I'm going to go there to see if I can assist them in any way that I can. Yes. And then she even follows that by yelling, "Candace, I am looking." How did she know she needed to be looking? How did she not know someone was hurt? And I wish I could just come right up on that part. But now, that's my opinion on that. If anybody wants to come up, you are more than welcome to. I am probably the easiest person to talk to ever. I mean, and like I said, I believe everybody would have a right to their opinions. Now, another thing is when Cam and Allie did a video, and this does go back to what Jody Sue said to Squall. But when Cam and Allie did a video, you could not even see Cam behind the weeds. You couldn't. And you could hear, on each one of their videos, you could hear the other person talking. So, right here, let me see here, like a cup of sugar or something. Yeah, I'm not, I was reading something that I saw on the screen here. Okay, right here. Let me see here. We'll start right here. Okay. Okay. Just a second, you all. Okay, now I'm going to share this and just listen to it. And along the sides, I have got the transcripts pulled up on it.
So you know, for a little while, it's just a weird one. So, and I believe she also said she could hear a car hit it. I could not, but I was further back. You know, like I said, she was first door, he was second.
Right there, she's talking about her daughter.
Then what? We go out onto the bank stand, you know, and we're listening, we're looking. We don't hear or see anything really. We eventually go back in. Then I get ready. I start getting ready not too long after that because normal time for Baltimore to get off of work. But then,
okay, put a 1 in the chat if it's if the speed on this. I've got it speeded up. If it's good, or somebody just let me know if I need to slow it down.
Baltimore texts and says he's going to be running behind. That he's working over, and somewhere, and I believe around 6, you know, they usually develop anyway. It was running quite a bit behind, but at one point near 6, I believe on the phone at 6:09, I'm going on the top curve right away to start the descent down. By this point, I'm hearing.
Okay, so around 6, she says that she's starting the descent down, I'm assuming her driveway.
Hold on. So, like I was saying, I'd gotten down, looked into the town, didn't see Summer. But I went across back over to the left, which is Candace's property, where the other side of the tile is, and that's if you're going out the road, not in. So,
now keep in mind, she has not said she knows Summer is missing. She ain't.
Crossover.
Nor has anybody told her that Summer is missing.
Starting to a spot that's kind of clear and head towards the creek because I think, well, you know, maybe brothers have left her behind, or she's fallen off the top of the hill, she's gotten hurt, or, you know, the usual.
Okay, so she's thinking like me right here. She's thinking she's hurt, the usual
things, right? And we need to find her if that's the case. Because in my head, I'm like, it's been a while since I heard.
And then she goes, do we need to find her?
This scream, this noise, if she's hurt, she's been here a while. So I'm wearing sandals, and I know the best thing I can do is get into the water. So I step into the creek. Because from there I can keep tracks down.
She said keep tracks down. I have always thought she said the scent down.
Because when you live in areas like ours, you know, worst case scenario. You also know what happened.
You know what? I do live in an area like that, and I'm not guessing at what Ben Hill looks like. I went there in February to see what the area did look like. And no, I still would not have thought missing. I would have thought hurt. I'm not going to be jumping in the creek to keep tracks down.
So somebody can't be found. And you know that staying in the water keeps scent down for dogs.
Okay, so that's why I was thinking scent. So staying in the water keeps the scent down from dogs. Okay.
If they have to be brought in. So.
Okay. Can somebody please tell me in the chat how many people from Ben Hill has been missing? Because what I just gathered from that is evidently in this area. Let me let her tell you. You see her. Evidently in this area, they know what to do. See, right here.
So I'm wearing sandals, and I know the best thing I can do is get into the water. So I step into the creek. Because from there I can keep tracks down. Because when you live in areas like ours, you know, worst case scenario.
I did hear that right, didn't I? When you live in areas like ours, you know the worst case scenario. So how many kids, or people for that matter, on Ben Hill has went missing that they know protocol, like they've got a handbook in front of them?
You also know what happens if somebody can't be found. And you know that staying in the water keeps sit down for dogs.
Okay, I'm going to out my age right here. I am 43 years old. Almost my entire life, I have lived almost 6 miles back in a holler. We literally drive across 2 slick rocks in the road to get to my home. Okay? Never one time have I been trained in what to do if, I'm not thinking about scent dogs. No, I don't know what happens if somebody can't be found. No, I'm sorry. And I'm as country as cornbread, people. I am straight up country as cornbread. And I'm here to tell you, this area is, first of all, if somebody goes missing where I'm at, 9 times out of 10, every neighbor is going to be walking every field, every mountain. We ain't worried about the tracks. It may be a mistake, but we're not going to be worried about the tracks or the scents and stuff like that. We're going to be looking to find that kid. Not looking for ways to keep our prints out of the dirt and our scent down from dogs. No.
If they have to be brought in.
Sorry, I got a little bit touchy on that one, but that bothers me.
So also it's a good way of checking, but with your feet on what's in the bottom and deepest spots.
Okay. I will also say that when I was on Ben Hill Road, I could see the bottom. I would have used my eyes if I had to get in that creek, not my feet.
So, and at the same time, I keep it on the bank, going around Kansas, into the top of the hill. Before I'd step into the creek, I can hear the boys go down the left side of their property towards the creek on that side that I had looked down towards earlier. And there was a point there when, I could tell that Candace and the
I'm just waiting for the next one to pull up, y'all.
So the boys had met up when they were hollering for summer and circling the hill at the top. And Candace was like, to the oldest, was like, what?
Yes, Lisa, she is full of it. Now, I'm sorry, but I live in the country. None of this makes sense to me. And the way she's come across is because of where they live. Well, either you've got kids going missing left and right up there, and people, maybe even, I don't get it. Because it ain't the country that makes you feel like that, Jody Sue. I also probably should say I like to fish, I like to hunt, I like to four-wheeler ride. So it ain't got nothing to do with not being an outdoors person. I don't understand why she was thinking like that right here.
What did you do? What did you do? And not like confused, it was more, at the same time, I keep it on the bank, going around Kansas, into the top of the hill. Before I'd stepped into the creek, I can hear the boys go down the left side of their property towards the creek on that side that I had looked down towards earlier. And there was a point there when, Yeah.
Now, do keep in mind, she still has not said, anybody has said Summer's missing.
I could tell that Candace and the boys had met up when they were hollering for Summer and circling the hill at the top. And Candace was like, you know, to the oldest, was like, what did you do? What did you do? And nothing like it.
Still, if I'd heard that, that would have added to my thought that somebody was hurt.
It was more of a, like, did you not have eyes on your sister? Did you leave behind? So that, you know, literally, it's like, okay, then I was, you know, like.
She said it was light. She didn't say that she heard that. So still, why are you thinking somebody's missing?
It is that the boys were supposed to have an eye on her and didn't or something. And so anyway, I'm stepping into the creek. I was, I don't know, not too far in. Sorry, this one's trying to snatch the phone cord. And why are there 6 in the house now? I was trying to snatch the phone cord. Hold on. I had to remind him that there's 6 others in here. So anyway, Lord, like I said, her elephants. So anyway, yeah. As I was looking, went a few feet, you know, in to the water, but you know, 20 feet maybe from her, I don't know, maybe less than that. I don't know. Wasn't too far in. When I hear a car come down Candace's driveway.
Okay. So right here is the first point that she hears somebody. I'm going to have to mute out just a second. It seems like somebody's pulled up. Just a minute. Okay, I'm back. But right here is the first time that she has mentioned whatsoever about hearing somebody else. Like, I believe she says she thinks that Don was in the vehicle because he was on the phone with Candace. But, I mean, nobody has came up to her at this point, according to her story, and told her, Summer's missing. We can't find her. Nobody said that.
And her talking to somebody, which I assume is somebody in the car with her. But as I hear her getting closer, I come back out of the creek and jump up out of, you know, and then into the roadway. And she's in the.
She comes back out of the creek and jumps up into the roadway. Do you remember what Candace said? When she come down the hill, she saw her neighbor.
Grandis's vehicle. And which, you know, kind of confused me at first. Because I was like, flash red earlier, and I thought, well, that would have been the first vehicle in line. You know, Grandis's was ahead of us, so that's why she's in Grandis's. And so, anyway, when she pulls up, she's on the phone with Donnie. But the first thing I said, I mean, guys, I wish I could explain to you. I wish there had been someone who could take a picture or video that day. Donnie's on the phone with her, and I didn't even realize the time. It just didn't hit me. But the first thing I said to Candace is, I heard her scream, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
The first thing I said is, Candace, I heard her scream. I didn't know.
And then I realized Donnie's on the phone. And Donnie says something like, so you're telling me somebody's taking my baby girl or something. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't put together, you know, enough time. Like, right? I was like, because the first thing she says to me is, we're talking together, basically, which is, I'm saying I'm sorry, and she's like, Summer's missing. And I'm like,
Okay, y'all. Right there is the first time she hears Summer's missing, according to her own words. Up until this point, she has been in the creek to keep scents down and tracks down. But right then was the first time anybody said Summer was missing. It's shady. And as far as getting in the creek, because it brings me to wonder now how many people has went missing on Ben Hill that they must have a handbook for it. Lisa says, I grew up 9 people in 3-bedroom trailer in the country. We know better than this crap, even being young. Yes. Yes. I completely agree.
Where's the last place you seen her? And I heard the screen. All this is happening. I mean, it's just a jumble, right?
Okay, that was another thing. And it might be the way my mind works. She said, and I'm like, where's the last place you've seen her? And she never says what Candace said. This is about Summer. But this key detail right here, when was the last place, or where was the last place that you seen her? You're giving account of the day that Summer went missing, and you're telling what your feelings are. But you evidently ask a very, very important question. I mean, and you don't even put it in this interview. And to my knowledge, to date, she has not said what Candace said in that driveway. If she asked her that question, then I want to know, is what she said what we have heard? Because she says at 1 hour 59 minutes and 16 seconds. And where's the last place that you've seen her? What did she say? Did she say the last place she seen her was the basement, going down or going into the house? We've heard news reports saying that she was seen walking away from her home. On this day, at this point in time, you ask her, where was the last place you seen her? And you didn't put it in this interview. In your accounts of what happened that day. Probably the most important question that could have been asked right then. You didn't put it in here. You didn't say what she said. I find it strange. Maybe the way my mind works, but I don't understand that.
And her face is so, the tears that Dolly's mother, any mother, if you had seen her face, she was sincere.
Okay, now at this point, it seems like, the title of the video is, I don't believe Candace and the boys did this. Neighbor speaks out, and I will link True Crime Commentary's channel in the description when I get off here and give them credit. And if you want to hear all of the interview, go to their channel and watch this. But I'm sorry, but to me, just in this, you asked a real good question, Jody Sue. Where was the last place you saw her? And you wonder why some of us don't think that you're sincere. Well, it's because you go on to tell how you are feeling at the moment. You're not telling what she said that could help find that baby. It's about you. Right here in this moment, you are making it about you. What do y'all think? Am I wrong? Hey, if I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. But to me, it's... Now, with that being said, I also think, and I get a high impression, that Jody Sue is one of these people that likes to be the center of everything. That's okay, lean on me. I get that a lot, actually. Even when I'm chatting in people's chats, a lot of people think I'm Crystal Crime Time, and she's awesome, so I'll take it. No, I'm just kidding. Lean on me if you want to come up. You're more than welcome. But a real good question was asked right there. Where was the last place you seen her? It's not put in here. We don't know what she said to her. I mean, yeah, she does. It does feel like she wants to be the center of attention, and then complains when she is the center of attention. Now, when you hear that, and I am going to play this one more time because, I mean, to me, it's relevant. When you hear that, and then you think of 423 Chase's phone call that was leaked, and he said someone was there and lured her away. And then you hear this other interview where Jody Sue is speaking about the Wells property, and she says this. A second.
You can look that particular way that shape is like you could literally hide behind the weed center and wait to make the shape and watch that basement door and just wait, like, and it wouldn't even be a thing. Like it's
the way the weeds was, you could be there and watch that basement door and just wait. It wouldn't even be a thing. How do you know? I mean, that is some of the things, you all, that I've been wondering. And then Squall put that video up, and that's her words. Yeah, she's talking about the terrain. I want to stress that. But when she's talking about this terrain that is around the Wells property, she distinctly says the way the weeds was, you could sit right there and watch that basement door, and it wouldn't even be a thing. And then you've got 423 Chase saying somebody did exactly that. Now, you've also got Ronnie Lawson. We're going to throw this out there too, who says that they don't have no proof of an abduction. And now, I'm not saying Jody Sue that she had anything to do with it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it don't look good. And she may be making herself look really, really bad because she does want to be in the center of attention. Real possible. Could her son have been on the Wells' property because she was being a nosy neighbor? Very, very likely. But then you've got that recording. And like I said when I played it earlier, it don't sound to me like he's giving an opinion. It sounds to me like he's throwing out what he considers facts. Now, like I said, yeah, she has talked in circles, and I'm not talking about her speech because God knows right now I can't. I can't talk about nobody's speech. Like I said, I've had surgery on my mouth. Probably will listen back to this video and not be able to understand a word I'm saying, especially when I get excited about something. But It looks bad. I'll say that. It looks bad. These are my opinions. These are things that have stood out to me. And she could have had nothing to do with it. I'm not asking nobody to go hound her. I've played because those are her words. They're not mine. And then when you listen to somebody else saying how it was supposed to have been done, and then you got her saying this. Oh, thank you so much, Charlie, because I really worry about people thinking that I sound wasted. But seriously, I'm recovering, thank God. But, it's been rough. It has been rough. Talking, eating, all that stuff it's been a challenge. But from the beginning, I have always said this. I do kind of feel like the most logical thing was Summer may have been playing with the dogs and may have wandered off with them. Does that mean somebody had to come up and stalk that house? No, it don't. Not with every RSO that's in that area. Nope. But she could have wandered out. The wrong person could have been driving by. I'll put my email in the chat, Lupus Mom. Just a second. Okay. But when you have so many people that have came out, they've done interviews, done lots of them, then naturally we're going to compare those interviews. And when you find some that just aren't adding up, or they're adding up too good, like to somebody else's that claim they know exactly what happened to Summer, then it raises red flags. I mean, I've mentioned a few people in this video that raise a red flag in this case. Sadly, there's more than that. And it does worry me that you hear so many people saying, oh, I'm sure law enforcement has looked at that. I'm sure law enforcement knows that. Well, do they? Because if there's one thing that I have seen too much of, it's in small towns, cases go cold. I don't want that to happen to Summer. I don't. Now, I've said it before. I mean, the list of supposed items of evidence that was taken from the wells, I don't think that's what that was. Nor do I think any of those boys had anything to do with it. And I've got a really good reason on why I don't. It's because in that person's video, they are asked, was the boys separated? He is talking about Grandma not being, Grandma Candace not being able to talk to the boys at that moment. But he said he saw them all three on the same video. Okay, I'm a foster parent. If they thought one of the boys was in on it or a danger to any kid, they would be in a home away from kids. They would not be put in there with the other two. To me, that's common sense reasoning. It would have, Kathy. It would have. I mean, you've got a sheriff that comes on and he says he's talking about misinformation. Okay? There's been a lot of misinformation spreaded through social media. And I will say, there has been. But then supposedly, allegedly, you tell a buddy that for YouTube to find out what happened to the other 4 hours? Now, we know she worked there. Can we prove that he said that to her? No. It's all allegations. It's not hardcore facts that we can hold in our hands. Okay? But you can't just throw everything out. So the scream is unfounded. Okay? You think the only thing they've really said is law enforcement thinks she may have wandered off and got lost in the terrain. Paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what they're saying. Everything else is thrown out the door, according to them. So, what do we got to go by? Everybody is passionate about this case. They are. Everybody wants answers. I know I do. I want to know where she's at. And I pray every night that she is safe. But what are they doing? I mean, no, we can't get details. And we shouldn't have details of the investigation. We should not have details that would ruin this case. But I would think that locals would be saying, well, they're still searching. Or, well, we see search crews at this spot today or search crews at that spot today. You aren't hearing that because it isn't happening. And now, I hope that she is found. I hope that we all get these answers that we do desperately need. I hope that, and I pray that creators can come together, brainstorm, not look at everything with blinders on. When I started this video, I said I'd probably get a lot of kickback on it. But I wasn't really, I'm not for, nor am I against the people that I have talked about. I'm just wanting to know if we can notice all these strange things from the timeline to words like, I'll see her again in the resurrection, to Jody Sue's son walking on the property. Then another question is why is she being questioned by the feds all the time? Nobody else is saying they are. Matter of fact, Candace Harris said that she hadn't seen them till like back in January when the YouTubers was on the property, or December, one of the two. Don't quote me on that. Oh, thank you, Charlie. That means a lot to me. But I mean, if we can find these little things, then why ain't they being questioned? Why ain't everybody being questioned? Yes, I do know that to be a fact. Ronnie Lawson's father was sheriff before him. I also know that how can we really trust him to be telling us the truth on everything when at the beginning of this investigation he said that there's not really no drug problem on Ben Hill, when one Google search will show you different. I mean, yeah, I can't imagine it either, Kathy. I would probably be driving people crazy. I probably would. But just like Lupus had mentioned earlier, in the Carly Trent case, they encouraged locals to come together and search. In this case, they're saying not to. And then at the beginning of this case, another thing that just blew my mind was when I heard him say, if we want to encourage everybody to search their properties, their outbuildings, their barns. And if you can't, let us know and we will search. So does that mean that you didn't search everybody's? Now, we do know that they said they got search warrants to go through some properties. But did they search everybody's? Or did they let them search their own? In an area where a kid goes missing, now I don't know what to do. I don't know to jump into a creek to keep scent down, tracks down. I don't know that stuff. But I tell you what I do know. I do know that everybody in that area should be looked at really, really carefully. And I do know that if you're telling people to search their own property, you're giving them a heads up to get rid of something. Or at least you're giving them a possibility. I may have said that wrong. It's either all or nothing. Either you want the public out there looking, or just look on their own land. And if you can't look on your land, then we'll come and look on your land. That don't work when there's a kid missing. Because it could be some of those property owners that have her. I mean, why do you wait 8 days to set up a roadblock? Yeah, Ben Hill, which is a dead-end road, had a roadblock that night. But from everything that I've looked for and found, it took 8 days to set up an actual roadblock on Beach Creek. So let me throw this out there. It took 45 minutes for the cops to get there. And like I said, back in February, I went to Ben Hill. I retraced Candace and Summer's steps that day, from being at the hospital to going to get H, to going back to the hospital to get pick the grandma up, to going to the tobacco place, to going to the hippie house, then to Walgreens, then to Warriors, back to Walgreens, over to Sonic, to Priceless, then to take H back. I did all that, and then to Ben Hill. With that being said, when I left that day from Ben Hill, I had set my GPS, first of all, to home. Well, I didn't have no signal. So I had actually went back towards Kingsport, because I thought, logically in my mind, I was thinking, well, that'd be the closest place to get to the main road so that I can come on back into Kentucky. I was wrong, because when I got service, it wanted me to turn around and come back through Beach Creek. And I did. And it brought me all the way out into Rogersville, which is not very far from the Kentucky line. I was back at the Kentucky line from the time that I left Ben Hill Road, and that's with turning around, because my GPS didn't have service at the end of Ben Hill. So I went down towards Kingsport, then got service and had to turn around. I was back in Kentucky within an hour. Good questions. All good questions in the chat. Why was she allowed to leave the hill? I mean, well, see, Charlie, the thing about it is Jody Sue and Andy wasn't married. They wasn't. A long-time boyfriend, but they weren't. It don't look like they were married. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but it does bring you back to the point of, if they wasn't married and that property's in his mom's name, why are you on Facebook making so many videos about property lines and your property and civil suits, and they're going to have to put up retaining walls? I mean, why? Yeah, it was his mom's land. They also have property on Fields Road. Where was the last search at? Fields Road. It was centered in on that. But, I mean, it don't look good. It really doesn't. And I'm not a condemning person. I really ain't. And I know it may sound like it from this video. But, and like I said, I'm not wanting to be accusatory, but still, when you look at everything that's in front of you, and it all goes back to the same place, well, you got to look into it. And it seems like all roads lead back to Jody Sue. She either knew about it. I've even heard that her and 423 Chase knew each other. Now, that's alleged, but it has been said. And, I mean, you've got to look at everything. Am I going to be one of these people that just constantly does 100 videos on Jody Sue? No. No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. Because then that goes from looking in to harassing somebody, and I'm not all about that. But I do want to look into the things that I do find. And I think there's plenty good questions that we can ask. And it's not really questions we've got answers for. And with as many people that can't be honest in this case, I don't know that we would get answers for it. But now, you know, sadly, there was one person whom I heard say something that made a whole lot of sense. And I know this person's shady as he can be. He really is. He has shot somebody in the throat, for crying out loud. He showed bones to another creator, acting like he didn't know what those was. Well, if you are country, you know animal bones, mister. So yeah, he's shady. And why would you do that? I have no idea. Have no idea why he would do it. But he said that the reason she left the property at 125 Ben Hill was because she got a restraining order against Andy. Yes, Kathy. And it's Fred Hill. That's who said it. That makes sense, people. If you get a restraining order and you don't own that property and that person's parents do, guess what? You're leaving it. You're not going to be staying on that property. So I believe him when he said that. Do I believe everything that man says? No. No. But that's why she left the property. She didn't leave it. She left because she got a restraining order. She's actually put pictures of that on her Facebook. Not saying that. I'm talking about the restraining order. But I was under the impression at first that she just left. I was under the impression, to be honest with you, she just got tired of it and she left. And yeah, 423 Chase helped put her into a motel, him and another person. And that's kind of how I believed it at first. But then when you look at what makes sense, you can put it together. Now, if I'm wrong, I am one of these people that will say I am wrong. I am not sitting here saying that Jody Sue has anything to do with Summer. But I am saying the things that she said and the things that she's done is shady. So if she's doing it for attention or to try to act like she knows more than she does, she probably should stop. Because it's not looking too good. And I will leave that right there. Is there anybody that wants to come up and discuss anything about this case? I mean, like I said, this isn't new information. We haven't got no new information. That's the reason I'm not putting videos out about Summer every other day. Because we don't got new information. But there is plenty of things out there that you can look through. And sometimes it just takes stopping. And like the title of this video, just listen to it again. Sometimes it kind of helps if we listen to it and don't really listen to the person's channel that it's on, if that makes sense, their opinion towards it. Do your own research. Create your own opinions. And remember, everything is alleged. It's all alleged. None of this is straight up facts. But it is her words. But if anybody wants to come up, let me know now. Because I'm going to have to get off here and do a few things. But what do you all think? Is there anything from her? Have you went back and listened to any videos, not just of hers, of anybody's, where something has stuck out and you didn't hear it the first time? Maybe you didn't pay attention to it real good the first time. I I do that all the time. Yes, I like, I mean, just, it's fine for us to look at these interviews, and it's fine for us to have our opinions. It's not fine to go real life on people and harass them and bickering between other creators. It does not do anything. It doesn't do nothing. It's my hope that we could all come together, share our thoughts on things without the feuds. Because who knows, we'd probably get, I know we would get a lot further than we would just letting it be a fight all the time. And I'm not a drama person, not whatsoever. I don't like the feuding, I don't like the arguing, I don't like all that. But let me know what you think. And like I said, if you're here for the first time, I want to say welcome. I'm not about to say welcome to everybody in the chat because I'll be honest with you, I am ADHD. And if I get to reading the chat too much, then I get sidetracked and forget what I'm even talking about. So sometimes I just got to go with my thought process and then look back. But I do appreciate you all being here. If you haven't liked or subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Like I said, I don't go live every day. I'm not spitting videos out every time I turn around. I've got a whole life here. But I mean, I will put out information that I think is relevant. Thank you, Lupus Mom. Lisa, there's one judge, honey, and that's God. And I thank you all for being here and sharing your opinions. And it's a lot easier when you got people in the chat that you can chat back to instead of feeling like you feeling like you're talking to yourself. Thank you, Charlie. And she makes a really good point right here, y'all. Anything and everything is possible in this case, and we need to look at all possibilities and think. And to add to that, I would also say that it is an injustice to Summer if we don't. I mean, it's real easy to find the people that we don't like and just focus on them and go with them really, really hard. Yeah, that's real easy to do. But in the process of that, we could be overlooking something that is really important. But you all, I'm going to get off here. Again, thank you for joining me. If you're watching on the replay, like, subscribe, do all the little YouTubey things. And like I always say, remember everybody, it takes 0 effort to be a good human being. I'll see y'all next time.